with this group because we have people on their way. Oh no, here we go. We have actually the man whose story is shown in this wonderful film. Please welcome Erich. Thank you so much for being here. Congratulations on this beautiful but tragic film about brotherhood, masculinity, family, so many important topics. This is an audience actually for fellow SAG-AFTRA actors. So for the actors, I always like to start by asking, how did you get your SAG card? What was the job that brought that magic piece to you? And let's start with Maura.
Well, I can project.
Oh, I think we have to share mics.
Yeah.
Your family.
My first SAG job was I played a mean cheerleader in a TV movie called Student Exchange.
Wow.
And I never get to play a bad guy, so it's great. That was the first and only time.
Was that a horror film?
No, I was just a mean cheerleader.
It was an episode of Law and Order.
Yeah.
SVU, yeah. The scene across from Ice-T, and my second scene got cut. I think mine was probably Law and Order as well. I played Michael Pizza Face Parisi. He was a pedophile, pyromaniac, really bad.
Oh wow. I auditioned for a horror movie called Creepshow 2. And I auditioned to play a frat boy who gets eaten by a blob. And the director said to me, we'd like you to play the bad guy, the Indian, the Native American. And I said, how could I be a Native American? I'm Irish. And the guy said, well, you have good bone structure. Burt Lancaster did it. He was great. And I said, but I have blue eyes. And there was a beat, and the casting director, a wonderful old guy from New York named Leonard Finger, he's retired now, he looked at me and he said, we'll make you a half-breed. So yeah, that was 1987. I don't think I'd be considered for that part anymore. But that's how I got my SAG card. I played a bad guy Navajo Indian, half-breed.
In all seriousness, if I remember correctly, I think I got my SAG card with Maura on ER. Yeah. She rescued me off the sidewalk from the gunshot and operated on me for hours. And that was my best day of my life. And that was it.
Did you live?
I'm still here. I don't think the character made it.
Oh no.
I love that episode.
Well, again, congratulations on a wonderful film. I want to start at the beginning with Sean, because I believe you've been wanting to tell the story of this family for quite some time now. When did you first sort of become aware of them?
Yeah, so I've been a fan of this guy right here since I was about 9 years old.
Oh, wow.
I assume you mean Kevin, not Zach.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And yeah, I was a huge wrestling fan, and in the late 80s, early 90s, I was living in England, sort of watching everything you could see on TV, but wasn't really enough. I just like kept digging and digging, and I found a VHS tape of these guys wrestling at the sportatorium, and just fell in love with them, their camaraderie, their energy in the ring, the way the sportatorium looked. It was just different than everything else. It just had a different feel, and it captured me. And I got to see Carrie live a few times in the WWF. And yeah, I just loved them as a kid, and so this was like a lifelong dream project.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really going back decades. You wanted to tell this story. That's amazing. Kevin, for you, I'm curious. Over the years, have people wanted to tell your family story?
Over the years?
Yeah. Had people wanted to tell your family story?
I have been approached several times, but I didn't want to tell the story that, I wanted to tell it my way. We had a lot of love in our family, and I felt so much of my dad. All of my brothers did. We loved him so much. And, I just wanted to make sure that when I talked to Sean, that he knew how important that was to me, that the love was projected that we had for each other, and the concern. And it sounds like, we were a family business. We had we put butts in seats, and in wrestling that's important, and all in entertainment that's important. And so it was a great time. We just, we just took it as it came.
Yeah. I mean, in this film obviously is going to work without the perfect ensemble. You assembled an amazing family on screen. Zac, what did you know about Kevin or his family when this project found its way to you?
I didn't know that much about, I had a little experience watching professional wrestling growing up. My parents kind of didn't enjoy it when my brother and I watched it. We'd start wrestling. So, I was aware of it. I didn't know about Kevin's story until I read the script and really got familiar with it. And it really opened my eyes, man. We immediately started over the rehearsal process, hanging with a lot of professional wrestlers and working with them, and they let us know the magnitude of the story that we were telling. We all had personal stories about how it affected them and inspired them. And so, yeah, I very quickly became a huge fan, man. I can't believe I'm sitting here today.
Tours.
Yeah. I mean, was it ever intimidating, though, to look at the scope of this role and realize you were going to play this character over several years and you would have to, change your physical form?
Yeah, definitely, but any challenge like that is, as much as it makes you nervous, I think that's what's really exciting about, this art form, this craft. Of course, it's a big challenge, but I knew that with Sean, Durkin, and all, he had everything, so he cared about us so much that I knew there was no way he would not approach the story with every bit of, passion and care. That he possesses. So.
And did you get to spend time with Kevin prior to making the movie?
No. We did the whole world premiere. We were in Texas. We met before.
No, we haven't.
Wow. I mean, I understand why. And I don't know if that was your call or, it was just dictated by the filming, but so you must have gone off of research footage, so many other things you had to draw on.
It was more fear and intimidation.
Yeah.
He's an iconic character, and you're right. I was thinking about it enough, I think, as it was. If I would have met the real guy, I would have cared probably too much.
Totally understand. Also, I think he can still take you. So. I want to ask the other American, sort of about your preparation for this movie, because where did you even begin with your research, not just physically, but mentally for these roles? Jeremy, I don't know where this fell in the shooting of The Bear, but it looks like you had to physically transform. Maybe you were happy to know you could eat whatever you wanted on The Bear because you had this coming up.
I don't know where it fell into place. I think I wrapped the first season of The Bear and had a couple months off and kind of a summer off. And then I think I started talking to Sean about this maybe 2 months or so before we got started, and I've known Sean for a really long time. Sean produced one of my first films ever, and I've always been such a big fan of his and trying to find my way back to him. And so he told me a bit of the story, sent me the script, and asked me to watch an episode of Dark Side of the Ring that focused on the Von Erichs, and that was my introduction to the men. After I watched that, I knew I wanted to be a part of the story. I found the story unbelievable. I was really taken with all the brothers and their relationships. And that's when I started eating and lifting heavy things when I decided to do that, and I just kept doing that for months leading up. But yeah, I mean, we were lucky. There's a lot of footage of these men online. There are a lot of podcasts and interviews you can watch. People who knew these men and spent time with them. And yeah, I think it was trying to understand the environment, understand the time, the place, the sport of professional wrestling, which I didn't know very much about. And then getting into the details of what I thought about the relationship between these men, the brothers, their father, mother, and family. Yeah.
I mean, speaking of brothers, Stanley, I was curious, did the three of you, convene prior to shooting and share like workout tips or, or talk about these relationships?
Yeah, no, they were helping me a lot with the working out. No, we met at the wrestling ring, in prep like a week or so before maybe a couple of weeks before we started the initial shooting of the film. And Jeremy and Harris lived a couple blocks away from me in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and we got to explore that town a little bit. And
he's smiling, so I want to hear those stories.
Yeah. I was in a small little hotel, and no, I'm not complaining, but they were in like a nice spot. So I went over to Harris's room and cooked meals and shot the shit. Yeah, it was fun. I mean, they were super inviting and very welcoming, and yes, they did help. Zac especially gave me some workout tips. I don't know if that showed, but yeah. Between takes, we were pumping her.
I love that. I want to ask Holt and Maura about the different ways we see Doris and Fritz, deal with their tragedies. Can you talk about what it was like to embody these parents with love for their family, but they're also grappling with such a loss? Was it a hard place for you to be emotionally?
Yes, but I mean, can I just add one thing about their working out and eating? They ate all day, every day, whatever they wanted to eat. And I'd be sitting there with my water and my orange. So that was emotionally challenging.
Oh man, that's funny.
But I feel like in terms of, there was a lot less of Doris around for me to research, so I sort of had to invent a little bit more. And I think in terms of, she was a woman who had such tragedy upon her at a young age, losing a young child, and I think the only way she could proceed was to move forward in a day-to-day way with the rest of her family. And no one really taught you how to deal with grief and being that religious at that time. So I think it was more about figuring out how to express a person who's in a lot of pain that has no idea how to express it.
I mean, unspeakable pain repeatedly is really, I don't know if your kind of actor takes your work home with you, but was it ever challenging?
No, I feel like it was a lot on the page and a lot was discussed with Sean. So, and I think on one of these before, was it you that said you'd say to Sean, how much emotion do you want to see in the scene? And he'd say, none. It was planned to have these people kind of be very, very suppressed.
Yeah. And Holt, for you, I mean, this character is very complex, and I think in other actors' hands, he could kind of be like a cardboard villain, and you do such a good job of imbuing him with humanity.
Yeah, I mean, look, I never saw, and I don't now, I never saw Fritz von Erich as a villain. I mean, I'm sitting here with his son, and you know, I just want to say to you, Kevin, that it was a great honor for me to play your father. I mean that sincerely. You know, I know that, you know, he has his critics and he has his admirers, but I'm firmly in the latter category. And, you know, in my own life, you know, I had an absent father. And the fact that Fritz took so much pride in his son's success, and you know, was such a family man, and you know, and loved his wife. I feel like you would know better than me because I never got to meet your dad. You know, he died long before we made this film, but I got the impression that he was a man who was in love with one woman his whole life, and that when Doris left him after so many years of marriage, that he was bereft. And I've said this before, I feel like the most dangerous emotion that can exist between a father and a son is jealousy. If a father is jealous of his son's youth or jealous of his son's opportunities, I never saw that in your dad. What I saw in your dad was a guy who wanted his sons to be as successful as they could possibly be. And I think he took tremendous pride in the phenomenal success that you guys enjoyed. It may not have been long-lived, but there was that one moment in time when you guys were on the top of the world, and I just think that was a tremendous source of pride and satisfaction for your dad.
That kind of man. I had that kind of respect for him. It was never, didn't see him as really that overbearing. It was just hard work, and I appreciate that you put so much into that, and you really came through. It's just beautiful work. You too, Zac and Jeremy. It's just a beautiful movie, and you know, it's entertainment. It's a movie, and so it's not going to be completely, you know, on the beam, but I believe they got the ferocity, all the traits that my dad had, and I hope people like it. I think you did a great job.
I want to ask Sean what it was like for Kevin to see the movie the first time, but also Kevin, what was it like for you to see, you know, this movie and your family portrayed on screen?
Well, at first I was pretty scared, you know. And but these guys' hearts are full of love, and I talked to Sean, and he had this just determination to put this movie out, and it was a labor of love, and so I had to trust him, and I did trust him, and I think they put a good piece of work together. I think it'll be good for my sons, and good for I have two sons who are also in Marshall who are wrestling right now.
Oh, wow.
They'll be in Dallas 3 days. Very short AEW, and so that's I have to say, you guys that know the story, you know, I did have about 10 years of losing a brother over 2 years, and it was tough, and I did what I could to survive, you know, and I moved out to Kauai, and I've lived there for 18 years on my mountain, and we don't come home, you know, I don't come out off the mountain except we go to the doctor once a month, and I take my wife. And so, coming back to America, let me tell you, a lot changed in 18 years. But it's good to be back, and you know, we're going back and forth still, but you know, life is good. Life is hard though, and sometimes you have to step up, and when you feel like you can't make it, you've lost too much, well, maybe this movie can inspire some people that are feeling coming down, like they can't make it. You got to make it. You can. When children are involved, your raise, your life, yes, you can do it. Fight hard, it's worth it.
Great.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you know, you can never capture an entire life or entire family's life in a movie, and that's never the goal. And the goal is to try and capture something truthful and, you know, find the core. And as I was reading through this epic story, you know, what to include and what not to include, the guiding light was always Kevin speaking about surviving, and that is the core, and in the end, it just had to be about that, and you can see why, talking about it.
Wow.
Absolutely. Zac, did Kevin say anything to you after he saw the film, or, you know, tell you what a great job you did? I'm asking you to be a modest, but because I asked, it's okay.
You know what? We did get to meet after, you know, you'd seen the movie, and we had a really nice heart to heart. You know, it was, I mean, you see the kind of guy he is, and you know, it was a very heartfelt, meaningful conversation, especially from my perspective. And yeah, I don't want to go into the details too much of it, but I don't know, man. I look with a full heart and so much love and just inspired, man. It's so cool to play a character like you. It's so fun to be able to be a small part of your story, man. And you know, it's inspiring and motivating to a lot of people, man. You remind me just to never quit and keep going. And you know, that's everything, man. That's everything for young nowadays. So thank you so much. I appreciate it, bro. Thanks,
because actually I have to be somewhere. But remind everyone that this movie will be in theaters December 22nd. It's such a special film. Please spread the word. Thank you so much for being a great audience. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, everybody.